What is going on, guys? It's the Frontz, and we are back for another episode of This is your NXT review for Wednesday, November 29th, 2017, when NXT was not at Full Sail. They had their Full Sail tapings actually tonight. Those go on for the last 4 shows of the year. This one was NXT on the road. This must have been taped before or after NXT Takeover. Or NXT Takeover War Games. This was a pretty decent show. It was no story built up for the next takeover or anything. That's all going to start next week. We will have Andrade Cien Almas. We will have an Andrade Cien Almas celebration next week, and a bunch of other stuff that I don't know what's going to happen, but we will find that out as we go. They did say we will have, for the second week in a row, the UK Stars taking over the main event of the show. And I got to tell you, I just finished that match, and that match was awesome, in my opinion. They started off with the Street Profits versus, which I'm still going to call them, the Rich Guys of Tito Sabatelli and Riddick Moss. Okay, this was a good back-and-forth match. These two teams, I don't know what they're going to do with the Rich Guys. I think they're just there to put other people over. They're not really going to do much. Montez Ford is going to be the breakout star in 2018 or 2019 of the Street Profits. This guy has so much charisma. This guy has the talent. This guy has everything you need for a superstar. It was a good back and forth. You had double flapjack by the Profits at one time. You had a perfect kip up also from Montez Ford. He is looking beautiful, and he is going to be a great single star. I could see him if they were to break up in NXT, which I doubt. They like to keep their tag teams together. The only ones that really have broken up in the last 2 or 3 years was DIY. He's gonna stay. He's gonna be great when they go up to the main roster. Which, trust me, the Street Profits will be on the main roster within a year. Within a year, probably WrestleMania weekend. That wouldn't surprise me. These guys are way over on NXT. These guys will make a great transition and, of course, be broken up within a year or two by the WWE. Montez Ford, I don't know if they'll have... I'm sure they'll have Dawkins turn heel on Montez Ford somehow, some way, whatever they want to do. Ford will become a big, huge babyface, and he should get a run with a title in the near future on WWE TV when they go up to the main roster, but that's a long way away. Winners were the Street Profits. The finish came when Moss with the forearm to Dawkins, Sabatelli for a 2. The ref sees Moss holding Dawkins. D'Angelo Dawkins was down after a forearm when he got shot off into the ropes by Riddick Moss. Tito Sabatelli went for the pin, and Riddick Moss went up over to him when he was on the mat, grabbed his ankles, and tried to hold him down. The referee's counting 1, 2, and sees Riddick Moss right there sitting. And I'm like, dude, you got to be more discreet than that. That was just they made Riddick Moss look like a big bumbling idiot. And D'Angelo Dawkins ends up laying out Tito Sabatelli after Riddick Moss gets laid out by Montez Ford. He hits the spine buster. Not one of the best spine busters out there, but it's a spine buster. Up goes Montez Ford for a frog splash, and the Street Profits win 1, 2, 3. They must be done with the Rich Guys, as I'm calling them, because you're not going to continue a feud if the Street Profits are going to win both matches. I don't know. They might. Who knows? In the back, we had Mustache Mountain being interviewed of what their thoughts of the match were tonight. They talk about how a couple weeks ago it was their buddy, who is Wolfgang, being fed to the Undisputed Era, and how Pete Dunne had a chance to do the right thing and help him, but all he did was run in the ring, grab his title, and get out. So tonight, they're going to have to teach Pete Dunne a lesson in respect. And as for Tyler Bate, not Tyler Bate, but Mandrews, which I know his name is Mike Andrews, but I know it's Mandrews from TNA, Impact Wrestling, Global Force Wrestling, all that stuff. He's just there as a casualty. They're a real team, and they're actually being referred to as Mustache Mountain. I just wish they would be able to use the Mustache Mountain music. Tyler Bate's music's okay, but I think Trent Seven's actually the one with the Mustache Mountain music. they come out, of course, and they just don't actually, like, the ring announcer doesn't call him Mustache Mountain, which they should, but they do on commentary call him Mustache Mountain. Nigel McGuinness was not here tonight, so it was a two-man team of Mauro Ranallo and Percy Watson's. Why couldn't it be Percy Watson being away? But still, it didn't sound like the commentary didn't sound overcrowded tonight, which is a nice, refreshing touch because we haven't heard that on any show in a very long time. Because Vince McMahon loves his three-man commentary, or Survivor Series, his five-man commentary. I can't wait to the Royal Rumble. Andrew is also being interviewed right after that by someone else asking why he is in this match. Because he's in this match under one condition: if they win, he becomes #1 contender to the UK Championship. So that's why he's in this match. He has his own motives. So Mark Andrews isn't a heel, but he's in this match for his own motives, and he wants to be UK champion. Like everybody in the UK division should want to be UK champion. Lars Sullivan promo, they are putting so much into Lars Sullivan. There is no way on this earth that they are going to be able to screw Lars Sullivan up. He is too big of a star in the making for NXT or Vince McMahon. When Vince McMahon gets his hands on Lars Sullivan, he's probably going to put him on SmackDown because you'll have Braun Strowman on Raw, destroying the competition on Raw. You'll have Lars Sullivan on SmackDown doing the exact same thing. Probably not in the same vein as Braun Strowman, but something like that, where he's just destroying people left and right, front and back, left and right and center. This is going to be a big star. I would like to see him win the NXT Championship, have a nice little 6-month reign, go through 2 NXT takeovers before he loses it. Not by getting pinned, but like say they do like a fatal 4-way triple threat match, cage match or something where he doesn't get pinned, he doesn't submit. I would say a cage match where he doesn't get pinned, he doesn't submit, but the person who takes it off of him gets out of the cage before he does, and that's how he would lose the title. I would love to see Lars Sullivan with an NXT Championship run in the year 2018 before he's brought up to the main roster. But, and yeah, I could see him after WrestleMania 35, not 34, 35, being brought up to the main roster. He still has another year he needs in the NXT before he comes up to the main roster. Kairi Sane versus Peyton Royce. This was a typical Kairi Sane match. She gets dominated for a lot of the match. Had a nice wheelbarrow roll up by Sane. Royce kicked out. She's getting ticked because he was doing, the bounce off the ring ropes, and their opponent lays down. She did that like 2 or 3 times. Peyton Royce was getting ticked that Kairi Sane kept doing that. Kairi Sane had a beautiful kip up, like she was on the top rope, kicked up, got her legs onto Peyton Royce, and ended up hitting her with a beautiful Hurricane Rana. This match was, same old. Billie Kay tried for the distraction. Heel kick, which Peyton Royce has a beautiful heel kick. She has one of the best heel kicks, I think. I think it's her finisher. I'm not sure. It's one of her finishers. She has a very beautiful heel kick. She got a 2 out of that. Small package by Sane for a 2. Clothesline by Royce as they go to break. Back from the little break that they have on the WWE Network. We had Peyton Royce had Kairi Sane in a headlock. Spear by Sane, which I think they call it I don't remember what they call it. It's like electrified spear or spearheaded spear or something. And both are down. Sane with a rolling neck breaker, which that rolling neck breaker is a thing of beauty. Stomping charge to the one corner down for a sliding elbow by Kairi Sane. Sane goes up for her elbow. Peyton Royce gets up. She moves out of the way. Sane gets hit with a knee to the face. Billie Kay gets on the apron. The finish comes with Billie Kay getting on the apron, trying to distract. He gets knocked down. Sane gets midsection hit. Sane hits the insane elbow on for a 3 count. 4, 1, 2, 3, and Kairi Sane is your winner. My problem with Kairi Sane is, and a lot of people are speculating that Kairi Sane is going to do somewhat the same that Asuka did in NXT, is that WrestleMania week she's going to win the Women's Championship, which I'm fine with. And she's going to go undefeated. She's going to win all of her matches, and she's going to come up to the main roster as undefeated. I disagree with that. I don't think it's a good move, simply because it's the same thing you did with Asuka. You cannot, and I repeat, you cannot try even close to recreate anything that Asuka was. Kairi Sane is not Asuka. You can't, like, what Asuka did in NXT was special. Kairi Sane does not have to win every match. If she wins the title, she needs to lose the title. And I don't mean she comes out and says, and William Regal's like, she's going to give up the title because she's going to the main roster. I don't want to see that again. They did it with Asuka. Asuka is the only one they should ever do that with for at least 5, 6, 7 years. They should never do that again with anybody unless there's an injury, like with Drew McIntyre, who did confirm that he won't be around to 2018 due to that injury, which looked as they showed the replay of that injury happening. You could just tell because on first glance, I didn't see it when it happened in the match, but it happened and it did not look pretty. You could just see how his arm just fell down, limp and everything. That's, but getting back on subject, Kairi Sane does not need to be an undefeated monster. She's not going to be a monster. If she goes undefeated, it's going to the way they have to book her to get her to stay undefeated is going to get old very, very fast. Everyone's going to be like, oh, good, she won, and then it's going to be like, gets her butt kicked for 95% of the match, comes up at with the final 5% of the match, does her moves, gets her stomp slide elbow, goes up for this elbow drop and wins 1, 2, 3. It's going to get old fast. No, I don't think she has to lose every single match, but Kairi Sane does not need to go through NXT like they want to then try to recreate Asuka in any way because it will not work. It cannot and it will not ever work again. Asuka it felt natural. It felt like it was a natural feeling. We don't get that often in WWE anymore. If they have Kairi Sane even attempt to do an undefeated streak like Asuka was, it will feel like it's being forced. Right now, she's not going to lose a match, period. But if she's going to lose a match, her first match would not be on NXT TV. I understand that, or at a house show, which tonight, by the way, was a souped-up house show and it's taped for NXT. We'll get to that, and I'll get to that at the end of the show, after all this, what I think about what NXT should do after tonight. But Kairi Sane could lose at an NXT takeover at the end of 2018 or at the beginning of 2019 or whenever she like the takeover before she comes up. She should lose that match. Lose the title. Don't pull this with Asuka being the undefeated empress that she was. Don't try and make Kairi Sane to be in anything that Asuka was, because it's just going to get old fast. It's just not going to work. Even if they get it to try and work down here, nobody will buy it up in WWE, and she will lose like that. I'm surprised Asuka hasn't lost a match yet, but they're finally booking her the right way. But they cannot do it with Kairi Sane. It just won't work. People are going to get tired of it in no time. That is in my opinion. If anybody thinks otherwise, then that's your opinion, and I'm not going to fight you for it. But I'm just going to say, if they try to pull the Kairi Sane that I think they're going to try and pull, even though I've never seen Kairi Sane before WWE, I didn't see her as Kairi Hojo. If they try and pull anything like Asuka, it's just not going to work. It's going to get old fast, and people will get tired of it. Then they showed a video package of what happened last week between Ruby Riott and Sonya Deville. And unfortunately, I figured last week was going to be the end of the whole entire feud of theirs because they're both on Raw and SmackDown respectively. Nope. We will see them next week in a no-holds-barred match. And this will be the end of their run in NXT. I figured since they were on SmackDown for Riott and Sonya Deville's on Raw last week at TakeOver's pre-tape show, that would have been it for them, but they want to give them a send-off. Of course, every NXT superstar, even if they're called up to the main roster, has a going-away tour with NXT. So this is going to be their final matches on NXT TV. Next week, we will also see Andrade Cien Almas for a championship celebration. Then we had a great, excellent tag team match. Mustache Mountain versus Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews. This match was by far a great non-title tag team match, and I think I've seen in a long while that had anything to do with tag team title gold, because there is no tag team titles in the UK. Give it time. If they do build the UK show up. I wouldn't be surprised if they give them tag team titles just for something for everyone to fight over. Bate and Dunn started the match. They were great. As like before the match started, Cruiserweight was the biggest chant of it all. After the bell started, all you heard was UK, UK, UK. By the end of the night, by the end of this match, Cruiserweight was most of the crowd was chanting. If you haven't seen this match and you haven't been watching NXT and you have the WWE Network, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go back, watch this match, and it is a good match. Is it Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne at NXT TakeOver Chicago? No, it does beat last week's main event. This main event was so much better. And yes, UK superstars are more over than half, if not most, of the anybody on the main roster, and I'd say most of NXT, even though NXT's got a lot of people over. The main roster for sure, other than, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles. Other than that, and a few others sprinkled in there, the UK superstars who we hardly get to see because they're over in the UK working because they don't know what they're going to do with their show. There's been a rumor they might fuse with 205 Live, which I hope they don't. They deserve better than that. They are some of the most over talent I have ever seen, and Pete Dunne and Mustache Mountain I have watched before at WWE's before they came to WWE this year, and they are as great as they have been in WWE, if not better. Maybe we haven't seen all of this on everything they have to offer us, but they are going to set the world on fire. Hopefully in 2018, I'm hoping we get a UK show because they deserve better than going to 205 Live. Unless you're erasing 205 Live and giving us a UK show, I don't want to see them fuse with 205 Live. I think that's a massive mistake, and it's a waste of everybody in the UK division's talents. There was a senton bomb by 7 to Bate. There was a really nice spot with Tyler Bate tagged in Trent 7. I think it was Mandrews was down. He picks Tyler Bate up, does a back body to him, and flips him over onto Mandrews. That was a beautiful spot. There was also a Frankensteiner into a sit-out powerbomb by Mandrews and Pete Dunne. It was a beautiful looking spot. That was something that was really awesome. There was also a part where Mandrews, Trent 7 was arguing with the ref about something. Pete Dunne goes to tag in Mandrews. They tag. Ref didn't see it. Ref turns around to argue with Mandrews that, hey, I didn't see that. You can't tag in, which, referees every once in a while don't care. But while the referee's arguing with Mandrews, Pete Dunne takes his forearm and just wails it into the side of Trent 7's head, knocking him senseless. It was a nasty looking shot. He's got a nasty shot. I thought Xavier Woods and Pete Dunne have some of the nastiest discus forearm shots you will ever see. When they came back from the little break, Andrews looks like he was reluctant to get into the tag team, into this match at one point because he's like, man, this guy's just going to tag himself in whenever he wants. But eventually he does get in. These 4 guys went back and forth and had a great match. I thought that Mandrews and Pete Dunne were going to start fighting towards the end of this match because they were tagging each other in and really frustrating each other. It was like Mandrews was beating down on Pete Dunne, so in comes Tyler Bate. I mean, not Tyler Bate, but Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne was doing something to Tyler Bate or Trent 7, and Mandrews was tagging himself in. They were really getting into each other's skin. Trent 7 did take a lot of the punishment for most of this match. Double backstabber in knees. This was a good spot because Trent 7 had Mandrews caught because Mandrews was trying to go for a monkey flip. Mandrews tags in Pete Dunne behind Trent 7's back. Trent 7's walking towards his corner. Pete Dunne comes up behind him, pulls a backstabber on him while he still has Mandrews, and Mandrews drills Trent 7 in the chest while he's getting Pete Dunne's knees in his back. This match was great. I can't go over it all because it was just that great of a match. You need to go watch it. Of course, Tyler Bate got his his crazy, ridiculous airplane spin in. Finish came with the Tyler Driver in 97 after Pete Dunne throws Tyler Bate into the ring ropes. He bounces off the ring ropes from his traps. That is still got to be a really rough spot to do because you're running with your traps and hit like the top of your shoulders into the ropes, and those ropes aren't really pretty to run into. I've never ran into them, but they've got to hurt. He comes back, hits a nice little shot to Pete Dunne, picks him up, hits the Twilight Drivers 97. They win the match 1, 2, 3. After the match, Mandrews is coming over to Pete Dunne to see if he was okay. Pete Dunne's like, get off of me, I'm okay, leave me alone. And then Mandrews goes to turn around, which you should not ever do this with Pete Dunne in the ring. Turns around, gets drilled from behind by Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne then goes to leave the ring. Then Mandrews is getting back up. Pete Dunne comes back in, hits his bitter end, and grabs his UK title, and that's how the show ends. No story building really much at all, except we do know for sure that Drew McIntyre will be out till 2018. He does say he will be back in NXT, but that is a long ways away, 6 to 8 months. So he'll probably just be up to the main roster, which he was supposed to come up to anyway. So next week will be the final tapings from Full Sail for the year that they stood 2 nights. They didn't do them last week because of Thanksgiving holiday. Wanted to get the crew time off. So where do we go from here for NXT? Quite honestly, I honestly think that the era of Full Sail should be over after this year. They aren't going to be in Full Sail, I believe, going up to WrestleMania week and into February as well. They're going to be taping from somewhere in Florida where WCW used to tape their Saturday night shows. I think, in my wholehearted opinion, that NXT should go on the road and tape those shows like WWE would tape those shows back in the day for Monday Night Raw. When they went live on Monday Night Raw in 1993 for about, I think, the first few months, but they couldn't financially do it anymore. So I believe it was like when WCW came around at that time in 1996, or 1994, whichever year it was. Monday Night Raw taped 2 shows a night, if I'm correct. Someone quote me on that. And they had their they went live and then they taped the show. I'm not saying go live. I mean, I would love to see them live every other week, but they don't need to do that. That's probably too much cost for them. But go to a town that Monday Night Raw or SmackDown's at every other week. Tape 2 episodes of NXT on Monday, or like on Monday. I'd say Monday or Tuesday. Or Monday, so that you have week 1 and week 2. If they want to, they could do 3 weeks, so they can do this a little more efficiently. But take 2 weeks, and for the week that's coming up and the week after, so as you go, they can tape NXT on the road. Leave Full Sail because, as we all can tell, the crowd is hot for the first week. But as we get closer and closer to the final tapings and the final tapings of that set, the crowd's dead because they're taping 4 episodes in the night, which honestly I think they shouldn't do in the first place. If they're going to do Full Sail, they should do one like today and tomorrow. 2 episodes today, 2 episodes tomorrow, so the crowd's a little more hotter for all 4 episodes. But in my opinion, I think the era of Full Sail needs to come to an end. It's really not doing much for WWE as it would for them anymore. NXT is at a loss. Like, they don't make any money on NXT. That's the thing. They're actually losing money running NXT. I think getting out there and not doing the big venues like Wicked Takeover should always be in a big venue that SmackDown and Raw will be for the Big 5 next year. Like Rumble, Mania, Money in the Bank next year, SummerSlam and Survivor Series. Those should be those big venues. Like tonight, they were in the Aztec Theater in San Antonio, Texas. I don't know when that was taped. I don't know if that was taped before TakeOver or after TakeOver. Probably before TakeOver, but I can't be quoted on that. And they should run NXT from a small theater, if anything. It means or a smaller arena that that Monday Night Raw or SmackDown is in. Run 2 shows there so that they can be ready for the next 2 weeks, and in that week that the show's been taped for already, they can run their house shows wherever they're going to go. It might not line up, but in my opinion, I think it'd be a lot better than what we have right now. because the NXT crowd is starting to become more of like the TNA crowds. Because TNA, up until now, because they're in Canada now, taping all their shows, for majority of their life was in Orlando, and those crowds were just dead half the time. So from what I've read, what I've seen is that they're going to be doing a tournament-ish for the number one contendership for the NXT Championship, and that's going to start next week. I haven't read spoilers. I just saw something on Twitter where it's going to be there's going to be 4 matches, and the winner of those 4 matches will be in a fatal 4-way. The winner of that will go on to face Andrade Cien Almas. I'm taking that would be probably at Philadelphia, which, may I ask, this is something that's just been like getting at me since NXT TakeOver War Games. The NXT TakeOver in Philadelphia has got to be the most promoted NXT TakeOver I think I have ever seen. They started a promotional package for it at NXT TakeOver War Games, where it's like coming in January, NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, even though it's just said NXT TakeOver. I have a feeling they're going to give it an actual name like War Games was. It's not going to be NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. I could be wrong. But Raw and SmackDown, I have never this far out from an NXT TakeOver ever seen them. Tickets are on sale for NXT TakeOver in Philadelphia it's Friday. I've never seen them do that before for an NXT show. I could be wrong. I could be missing something. But this video package for NXT TakeOver Philadelphia has been promoted on Raw, SmackDown, and of course NXT. But it's been promoted every single day that WWE has TV. And I'm like, there's got to be something with this Philadelphia TakeOver that we haven't seen yet or we haven't heard from yet, because they're promoting this thing heavily. Like War Games, I don't think they're going to match War Games for a long time. But for some reason, they are taking this NXT TakeOver for Philadelphia and they're promoting it on Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. And I wouldn't be surprised if Clash of Champions in a couple weeks also has promotional videos for it. I mean, it's okay to be promoting NXT, but what makes this NXT TakeOver different from War Games, Brooklyn 3, Chicago, and San Antonio and of course Orlando, that's right, not Florida, Orlando. It's just really peculiar and odd to me, and I don't understand it. But we will start seeing storylines built and everything going on. We will probably have something with the Undisputed Era, I hope, next week on NXT, because we still haven't heard anything other than that backstage segment after NXT War Games last week, or if you watch on WWE's YouTube page after War Games. We haven't heard anything from them. We haven't heard anything from anybody in NXT about anything from War Games other than Almas being the champion, and he's going to have a celebration. So I'm looking forward to see what we do with NXT next week. We haven't had any storyline built, and it's funny because I'm more excited for NXT next week because it's the start to build to Philadelphia than I am for Raw or SmackDown, even though SmackDown has Clash of Champions coming up in about 2 weeks. That's like just something that NXT, there's something about NXT that they do right, that Triple H does right, that Vince McMahon and Raw and SmackDown just can't do. I'm excited every week for NXT now, and I can't wait to see what they have coming for us. I really want to see who's going to be the participants in this Fatal 4-Way, who's going to win the matches. Yes, it's going to a Fatal 4-Way. Why can't we just do like an 8-man tournament instead? And I hope, I want WWE to have a New Year's resolution at the beginning of next year. No more Fatal 5-Ways, no more Fatal 4-Ways, and no more Triple Threat matches in Raw, SmackDown, NXT for the entire year. It's enough of them. You wore me out of them. That's all. And that is your NXT review for the last NXT of November 29th, 2017, where there wasn't much there, but if you have to see anything, if you want to see anything, watch the main event. That was a perfectly great main event. The UK stars are showing why they are the best talent in WWE besides AJ Styles. That is all I got to say about that. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, evening, night, or wherever you're at in the world when you see this. And I will see you guys next week for Monday Night Raw.